record this just for the people that don't see the beginning and may have missed it. So basically, for those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Melanie Schmidt with Minnesota Title. I'm kind of in the marketing, new business development, client relations, whole bunch of different things that I do. Kayla is a closer with Minnesota Title. So for those of you that are newer to real estate, the closer is the person that comes in, talks the documents, gets everything signed at the end of the transaction, and does a whole bunch of other things too, and kind of works with the coordinator. So her and I are kind of doing this class together today, just to give you a brief overview of what you can expect from title and a title company in general, and what exactly it is that we do. Because a lot of people, especially if you haven't bought a house yet, or you're new to real estate, don't really understand that title is kind of a separate thing from the actual real estate agent's part of it. So with Minnesota Title, I say we're your preferred title company because of all the different things that we exemplify as a company. Teamwork is probably the main thing that I see in our company, just how everybody jumps in and helps each other. Customer service, going above and beyond. And why are all these things important in a title company? Well, when you're dealing with title, people don't really know what it is that we all do, but there's a lot of different moving parts. There's different people involved, and personalities actually can play a huge part in it, and the success of the transaction there. And you, if you've been in other jobs in your life too, I'm sure you realize that the culture is a huge thing. So we have a great culture at Minnesota Title. And what does your title company do to exceed your expectations? This is a question we ask our clients a lot, like, what more can we do for you to actually help you rather than just provide title for you? And, you know, we try to do a lot of different things at Minnesota Title. We definitely do classes, educational classes, but I also enjoy helping real estate agents kind of get their business off the ground. You know, when you're first starting and you have a lot of information thrown at you, and you maybe don't know a lot about having a business page or what you can do for your website, I kind of like to give advice on those types of things, and also help them with things. If they have an event coming up they want help with, I like to see people succeed, because the success of the real estate agent is the success of the title company. And this is just a favorite quote of mine: excellence is the gradual result of always striving to do better. And I think that anytime somebody is trying to educate themselves, they're striving to do better. And as a title company, we're always looking for ways to do better than the next title company. And of course, our main goal is a smooth and enjoyable process for your clients as a real estate agent, yourself and the other side of the table, because we want them to have a great memory of this day. It's going to be the last experience that they have through this transaction of buying or selling their home. And if it's a good one, they'll remember you and they'll want to refer you to other people. And at the end of the day, we all know that this is a business of referrals. Anything that we can do to make you guys shine better is better for you too. Why work with us? We have top-notch service, convenience, and industry knowledge are the main things that we have. So a lot of people that work for Minnesota Title right now have literally been in title their whole life. It's all they've ever done. They've done different aspects of the title company. And so they kind of understand a lot more than somebody that's just brand new trained. Now we do have new employees as well, and they're working their way up, but they're being trained by the best, so it's great. Convenience, definitely. We have a lot of different locations, people willing to jump in and help if need be. No matter what, we kind of do whatever it takes to get the closing done. And I've never seen that more than ever, especially through this pandemic and the stuff that we've done to get the closing done. And driving also in crazy weather to go to their house to close or whatever we have to do. We kind of do go above and beyond, I will say that. And we have multiple closers on staff too. So some title companies, as they get busy, they will hire out contracted closers, which is essentially somebody just showing up, they've got their notary stamp, they talk the documents and get it done, and you never know who you're gonna get. And with Minnesota Title, we don't do that. We have backup closers that work for us. So they're familiar with the file, they know who to talk to, and they know what's going on. I have talked to real estate agents in the past that suddenly somebody will show up at the closing table they've never met before. And it was because their regular closer got busy. So they contracted somebody to come close for them and they're not presentable and it just didn't do a good job. And so you want to know who's coming to close your file. Because like I said, that's the last part of the reputation right there. And so now we'll just go over a little bit about what is title. Because a lot of people, you know, if you haven't bought or sold a house, you're like, well, what is title? And even I, who had bought in 2 homes, didn't even realize that that was the title company I was signing at. So I always just say it really simply is like anything you own, like a car, you've got a title for, the title's in your name. Well, when you have a house, there's a title for that house and that's in your name too. And when you move, that title is going to go to the person that buys your house. The job of the title company is to research that title, research everything about the property, everything about the previous owner, and make sure that when we hand that title over to the new owner, it's clear and doesn't have any issues with it. So they don't have to worry that somebody's going to come knocking on their door thinking that that land is theirs, or there was some kind of issue of back property taxes that now they owe, anything like that. So the main job of a title company is to clear title and then provide what is called title insurance. Title insurance is a one-time fee that is paid. It's like 2% of the price of the house, around that. Just one payment, and it lasts for the entire time that you own the home. And title insurance is going to cover the owner and the lender. All lenders require that somebody gets title insurance anytime they give you a loan, because they want to make sure that they are first in line to get paid if something goes wrong with that house. They want to get paid. And so the lender's coverage is going to cover just the amount that you got the loan for. And the owner's coverage will cover the rest. So it's really important when we do that title search that there's no encumbrances on the property, there's no liens on the property or anything like that. And when we do, you know, the title work, we do it to the best of our ability, and we have figured out everything we could possibly know about the title. And so then we have the best title insurance possible with Minnesota Title too. I could go into a little bit about that. Like there's like 130 things that can come up as an issue with someone's title. And we have an extended Eagle policy at Minnesota Title that covers an extra 70 things more than the other people's title insurance. And the majority of issues that do end up going wrong are actually within that other 70, if that makes any sense. But anyway, usually it's not often that we actually need to resort to doing anything with that title insurance, but you know, the second you don't get something, you're going to need it. Same thing with car insurance. The month you go without it, you'll probably get in an accident, just saying. That's kind of how things go. So title insurance is a no-brainer, and most people don't even question getting it. Occasionally, if somebody's paying with cash, they're like, well, that's just an extra fee. Why would I need that? But it doesn't matter. Something could still happen along the way with that title. You're going to need title insurance. So these are just a few of the most common things that people would understand of what's covered. One of the main issues that I would say comes up is mistakes in legal documents and the recording at the county. There might have been a property line that was not correct. There might have been a name that was misspelled. Some people don't even realize that there's an issue with their title until they go to sell their house. And then they're like, oh, wait, this isn't even in my name or their name, or it's kind of an odd thing. So, and forged deeds, that happens too. Fraud, all those things can kind of happen. So these are the types of things that are mainly covered, some of the risks. And if anybody wants to know a quote on title insurance, they can visit our online calculator. Really easy to just type in the purchase amount, the loan amount, and it will give you an estimated total fee. And right now, I will say our calculator online is being able to email and print, but it's currently being worked on. So you'll be able to see it, but not email it. And hopefully that'll be fixed by the end of the day. And same for refinance. You can calculate the fees on there as well. And so now we'll kind of just go a little bit over the life of a closing and when title comes into the transaction. So you have your purchase agreement and you've had the inspection and all that stuff. I think it's best to kind of wait till all that stuff's over and done with, because sometimes issues come up with that. In fact, just recently, someone backed out of a deal because the inspection didn't go well. And even though there's such low inventory right now, and they'll probably not find a similar house, they just didn't want to get the property. So a purchase agreement gets sent over to the title coordinator. And in this case, Kayla's title coordinator would be Lindsay. So that would get sent over to Lindsay. We always say send more than you think. If there's any kind of, invoices that have been paid, not paid, any kind of thing that involves the property. And that title application is sent over to the coordinator from the loan officer. Oh my gosh, I forgot an R on the word coordinator. I can't believe I missed that. Let me make a note to correct that. I hate
Coordinado. That's a pretty nice title.
So fine. That's funny. And so then we have an order entry department. And so they will get all that information, they put it in the system, and then it gets a file number. That's kind of the reference, throughout the course of the file. And that's when they order an assessment search and a property search and a plat drawing. So we have a lot of different teams at Minnesota Title. So then somebody would go out and do a property search and assess everything, make sure everything matches up with that. And we have our in-house abstracting department too. So they do a deep search into all the county records and pull up any kind of, mortgages or judgments and all that stuff that are on the property. If someone's lived in a house for 20 some years, sometimes we end up doing a search and they didn't even realize that they had another mortgage out there. And I mean, just weird things come up, right? But it's so nice because we will find everything. And so you as a real estate agent, you want to make sure and ask your clients the right questions. Have you guys ever gone through a bankruptcy here? Has there ever, how many mortgages do you have? All that kind of stuff, because no matter what, we're going to find it, and it's best to just deal with it all up front. Some people are like, oh no, I've never filed for bankruptcy, and who cares if you did? It's not a big deal, but we're going to figure it out, and that's kind of got to be known. And then we have examiner teams that kind of thoroughly go through everything. We have a lot of different eyes throughout the process of clearing title. And so then they do all that part. And then, do you want to talk a little bit, Kayla, about the coordinating and the closer role, and maybe how you and Lindsay work together?
Yeah, absolutely. So the coordinator, they're going to kind of work behind the scenes to clear any defects that are on title. Sometimes they schedule the closing for me. I like to schedule my own. Involves the real estate agent every step of the way, the lender, the buyer, the other title company. It's kind of like the key person that's just communicating with everybody involved. And then on or before the closing date, that's going to be the person that receives that package from the lender with all of the documents. So they're going through checking them all, making sure that everything looks great, names are spelled correctly, everything that they have in their system matches what we have in our system. And then they're also going to create our settlement statement and balance that with what the lender has on their closing disclosure. Once we are all balanced with the lender, they will send the agent an ALTA statement to review. And that ALTA statement, that's going to stand for American Land Title Association. So it's really just an itemized list of all of the different fees that a buyer or a seller has during this real estate transaction. And then it's also going to spell out different dates. It spells out, the proration of taxes, who's paying what, HOA dues, who's paying what, how much is it to move in or out of this HOA. All of the really fun behind the scenes numbers is going to be on there. And then they're going to send it, like I said, to you guys to review. And once we're clear to close, that's kind of the person that did all of the work behind the scenes, and then they pass it over to me. And that's where it's going to go to the closer. So the closer kind of comes in last minute, steals all the glory. They explain all the documents to the borrower or the seller. I'm the one that would notarize any documents that need notarizing. I'm going to make sure that the funds from the lender match what we need. I'm going to get funding approval from that lender so that I can cut checks, I can disperse all of the funds. And then I prepare and I send all those loan packages back to the lender. I wire off or send off any payoffs that are required. And then I'm also going to send and prep the documents to go to our recording department.
And is there any kind of things that you would give advice to real estate agents to make sure that things go smoothly? Like, do you ever have any issues that come up and you wish someone would have done something differently or not done something? Or
Really, I think we always send off that Alta statement just for review. So really just looking at it with everything that you know in the transaction, because sometimes you know a lot more than you think you know. So just looking through everything, making sure that everything on there looks correct, as far as you know, and just confirming back to us like, hey, that looks great. You know, the commissions are all right. All of the different fees are correct.
right. Okay. And then do you want to kind of talk a little bit more about the recording department too?
Yeah, so the recording department, they're going to review all of these documents to make sure that everyone's done a great job along the way. If they notice any errors, you know, they're able to fix it before it gets to that county level for recording. So they're just going to double check those deeds, the legal description, make sure that the mortgages are all signed where they're supposed to be signed. Everything looks great. And then they're going to get that recorded with the county. If anything comes back from the county, it's called a reject. So then they're going to help us take care of those rejected documents and fix them so that we can get that recorded properly.
Yes. And no matter what, like it will be recorded at the county. It will get right, even if there was an error. It's not often that we have to have anything really redone. It's probably just maybe a typo or something, I'm guessing.
Sometimes they'll have a different legal description or, you know, something really simple or a PID number. There were two and there's only one listed on the deed. Something super, super small like that takes just an extra second.
Yeah. Cool. And then the final policies get sent out to the appropriate parties too. And most people, if you ask them where their title insurance policy is, they'll probably say, oh, it's in that drawer. I keep all the important things. And you forgot it's even there and it's there. Everybody has that drawer, right? But if not, we can always look things. If you know where you did the closing, you know, we can look stuff up for you too. It's funny how a lot of people, you know, and even me myself, when I had bought my house, I couldn't tell you the name of the title company I was at. I just knew that I was told where to go and I went and signed the papers. And so I had to go back and ask my real estate agent. I was like, who did we use anyways? And because at that point, you know, when people are in different real estate brokerages, sometimes they'll like, okay, let's use Edina Realty, right? So they got Edina Title down the hall. And, you know, usually they just use them because it's really all that they know. And so that was the case with mine. She's like, oh, well, you used Edina Title. But I said, you never even gave me a choice though, did you? Because you're supposed to give them a choice. It's their choice where they want to use. And she's like, you know, I just always got so used to filling it in that I did. But so that's a piece of advice, is because you really have to ask them who they want to use for their title company. And most people don't know. I will say that, like, unless you know somebody in title, you probably don't know one. And then if you say, you know, who would you recommend? You know, I would rather go with whoever you say, then you guys can fill in whatever. There's a lot of agents too that will just give 3 choices and say, you guys can pick one of these. These are the ones that I like working with. Most of the time, the client's still going to say, well, which one should I use? Because nobody has time for that. They'd rather just use who they know their real estate agent trusts. So, and the same with our clients too. Like, they have a relationship with us. They know that we're easy to work with. So it's just easier to keep sending to the same title company. So just a lot about communication here, because that's the biggest thing. Staying in communication with a loan officer and knowing that where they are in the process is huge too. You know, with COVID, things got a little crazy there for a while with all the refis, and title companies got really busy. Loan officers got really busy. We kept up with the pace though. I mean, we worked a lot of hours, but we did it. And I think staying in communication with a loan officer is key too, because sometimes, you know, it used to be where we would have everything in order, you know, days beforehand and ready to go. And sometimes it'd get down to the wire when people get busier. But I don't think we ever really missed a closing date because of that. So if we, for some reason, can't get a hold of the loan officer or the client, and we know you have a better relationship with them, we'll probably tell you so that you can reach out to them, because they're most likely going to always take your call. So that's just something to keep in mind too. And these are just a few things that need additional attention if they come up. And also, some people don't let us know to the last second that the property's in a trust, which also causes issues.
Or a buyer that wants to put it in a trust. That's something we need to know ahead of time too.
Right, that is true. And I'd say the biggest issue probably can come in when there's a divorce involved. I always just say, like, either stay married or just stick it out. You can't really change your marital status in the middle of a transaction without it causing some issues and probably slowing up the closing. And having divorce decrees for us to go through too, if there has been a divorce, any of those types of things. Different types of liens can be on a property. Sometimes people don't even know it. There could be back child support that was owed and somebody put a lien on that ex-spouse's property, just random things. But when we clear title, all of those things have to be taken care of and cleared up, whatever it is. If somebody's bringing money to the table to clear it up, if somebody, you renegotiated some things, whatever it is, we want to know that the person that's getting that new house has a clear title. And so that's our main goal of getting to that. Have you ever seen any odd issues come up, Kayla, that you wish they would have asked the right questions for?
I've had it before where we get to the mortgage and, I ask them to double check that marital status and it says married woman. Well, the divorce was finalized. I would agree with you that I think divorce is the number one issue that comes up at closings. So if people are going through a divorce, just letting us know that so that we can ask when it's going to be finalized. Name changes, that's another one. If somebody changes their name, from the time that they purchased their house to when they're selling, that's another thing that it does come up on our title work. So we do typically know about that always beforehand. But any communication that the agent can give us is always.
Right. And there's a lot of different services. So we do have some in-house attorneys too, which we can get answers from, and they've been, oh my gosh, doing this for 40 years maybe. And also people are really quick to respond to when it comes to any abstracting questions or exams questions. Again, the processors are great that we have on hand too, many closers that are there to help you, and in-house exams team too can help with any kind of questions. What would you say are the main questions, Kayla, that people would have for somebody in the exams team?
They're always like one-offs. It's never just like a standard, here's a question I get asked a lot that I have to forward to them. It's always, if it's, I guess the most common one is probably when just one spouse is on the purchase agreement, but both spouses want to be on title, of course. So then we have to send it to our exams department to update the title work. But no matter what, if we're doing anything to title work that's different from the purchase agreement, we always need an addendum to that purchase agreement for them to reference, just seeing that it was signed by all parties. So if we're adding someone to title, we need that addendum and then we send it over to them.
Right. And there's a lot of different kinds of transactions too that can come through in real estate. The most common one obviously is residential. We also do commercial, new construction, contracts for deeds, cash, almost any kind of thing that requires a closing, we will do. Mm-hmm. So we are a very well-rounded title company. There's a lot of smaller title companies, they just got 1-2 locations and they just strictly deal with residential or strictly deal with other kinds of situations. So we have enough people in our company where somebody's done one of these at least multiple times in their life. And if you've never heard of it, who's done it and they'll help you through it. So, and we're good at also guiding people through it that have never done it. I just had somebody today who wants to do a quick claim deed. They don't really know that much about it. They just know that they want to do it quickly. And so they need to be able to ask the right questions to the right person in our company to get the answers on how they proceed with that. And so here kind of talks a little bit about your team. So every time I meet with a real estate agent or loan officer, even somebody buying a house that wants to use Minnesota title, we like to have a specific team for that person. So they're not getting lost in the shuffle or, they don't know who to email when they have another deal. So we always just set them up with one coordinator and one closer. That's your contact team. They're the ones that are always going to be reaching out to your clients. And that way you'll kind of get to know them a little bit better. And, you know, sometimes you want them to do something different or not, and you can have that conversation with them and they can adjust it. We always do a really kind welcome letter. Of course, everybody's professional and stuff like that. But, you know, sometimes people just prefer different personalities to others. Because that's the person that's going to be dealing with your clients. So for Kayla that's here today and her coordinator, this is Lindsay. And so she would be the first point of contact when you get that purchase agreement. And so she'll take care of it from them on out, reach out to the clients if they need anything, and basically get it all packaged up and pretty and ready to go for who is then Kayla, your closer. And so she's kind of the face of the closing and representation kind of you and your business, because that's the person that they see at the table. And so when I had done my closing years ago, like I thought the closer was like an assistant to my real estate agent. I just remember naturally thinking that. And so you got to understand that some other people probably think that too, because they're tying this whole experience together. And if they've never bought a house before and it's their first time, you know, and you kind of want them to feel like you are a team and you work together and you have a comfortable understanding of each other, because then that gives them peace of mind too through the process. And so, and then me, I kind of do a lot of different things, but I like to make the introduction, make sure everything's going smoothly and taken care of, checking in occasionally to see how things are going, see if you have any advice. And I definitely like to keep people up on the education and any kind of sponsorship opportunities too. There's some clients of ours that do, you know, customer appreciation events type things, whether it's handing out pies or having a bingo night or whatever. And I'm more than happy to come in and help with those types of things and give away some prizes and all that stuff. Sometimes you just need somebody around that's the life of the party, and that's kind of me. Just kidding.
Well, it is. It is.
Say that. I'm like, seriously, invite me to everything. Everybody's going to have a good time. Trust me. Oh, it's funny. Anyways, so to get started, you would meet with an account executive, which is me. What we've been doing now is just a lot of Zooms. It's a lot easier to meet somebody on Zoom, or even having classes like this where you're kind of familiar with people and how they do business and their personality. But basically, once you have a file, you sell it or send it over to Lindsay, and we'll take it from there. And if there's something that you didn't get us that we need, we'll let you know. Would you say, Kayla, most clients are kind of sending the right stuff over? Is there anything that's typically missing that we really need? What would you say?
Sometimes we're missing contact information, so I'll have like people's names, but I obviously need to have a way to contact them as well. So a phone number and email. Always make sure to send that for your buyers or sellers. Same with the lender information, so that we can reach out to the lender and just get that rolling too.
Right. And Sue, would you say that if they do know of a good, you know, a definite day and time that they want to close, that that's included in there?
Yes, yeah. You can't give me too much information.
Right.
I want to
Exactly.
know it all. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any conversation had, even if you've worked with another title company before and you're like, oh my God, this was fantastic. Tell me. Like, I'm more than happy to add that into.
Right. Exactly. And this is what we aim for, a memorable closing experience, because we know it's the last impression. And so I even like to say too, you know, as we're at the closing table, just any little, you know what, it was so great that you chose Jack as your real estate agent. We love working with him. And we'll just say little things like that, because we truly do enjoy working with our clients. And we want you to get referrals after this. And we want to continue to do business with you. So that's our main goal. Okay, now guys, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I'm going to try to do that. I inserted this into the slideshow and it's supposed to be a little video. So we're going to see how this goes. It might work. Okay. Did you guys hear audio in that or no?
Yeah.
You did? You heard the music?
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I never know if these things are going to work, and that's the first time I tried that. Anyways, so that's kind of it. This is our contact information. You can reach out to us anytime with any question whatsoever. No question is a dumb question. Trust me, we've heard them all. So just know that you can reach out to us. We're here to help you, and follow our Facebook page, I would say, because that's where I post a lot of the events that we do. And we usually, almost 100% of the time, will offer these types of classes free to our clients because we want you to have the information and we want you to improve your business. And sometimes the classes we do are, it's personal and professional type stuff, which I think everybody could kind of use nowadays. It's not just about knowing how to do your job, but how to develop yourself as a person too. So following our Facebook page is a really good thing to do too. Do you guys have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions, but definitely like when I meet with new clients, just telling them that it's going to be a smooth, stress-free process is going to be key. Because I feel like sometimes they get overwhelmed and they're like, oh, we have to do this and that. And I'm like, well, we're here to make it a smooth, stress-free process. So I wrote that down. I'm going to beat that into my brain. So when I have that conversation, it's going to be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And like, once you get to the purchase agreement is signed, it's like, they're kind of right there at the finish line. And sometimes, they don't always hear from us back and forth through that period of time before the closing day. So they just kind of need to hang tight and count down the days. And if we don't need anything and everything we need, it's, that's
a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes if you don't hear from us, that's good.
I know. That's why I think it's funny sometimes when clients are like, well, my buyers reached out to me and they said that they haven't been hearing from you. And it's like, well, we're not going to just email them every day to chat and be like, hey, things are going well still. Yep. Countdown to closing. It's like, we gave them the closing day. Everything was good, but they don't know that. And so I think too, as an agent, just saying to them, hey, you're not going to be hearing from these title people all the time. They'll just reach out to you in the beginning, make sure they have everything. And then come closing day, you'll meet up with them kind of thing. Yeah. So, well, I think that's it. If there isn't any other questions. All right. And then.
Yeah, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming. It was great. And I did record this. So if you guys know of anyone that had wanted to come and wasn't able to make it, I do have a recording of it I can send to them too. So. All right. I think that's it then.
Wonderful. Have a great day.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.